hear about it on the back pedal, I guess.
Grapple grinder edition.
I Swifted this morning.
I did a thing.
YouTube, I just got a notice. Watch live now. Dialed podcast. Live stream.
Well, you should probably tune into that.
Tune.
But I'll give myself it.
I'd say you should give yourself that 41.
I think so.
Check, check. There it is.
Whoop.
All right, y'all ready to get started?
Ready.
All
Roll
right.
it.
All right, y'all ready to get started?
Ready.
Mm-hmm.
Roll it.
Hi, and welcome to the Dial Podcast. I am Jake Von During, and today I am here with Lance Epler.
Lance Romance
In studio.
in studio.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's hard when you're gone.
Thank you.
It
You're-
is.
You're kind.
There's a lot of like
It's a very
emotional.
tired
it's-
vibe.
It's yeah. There's a lot of crying and stuff like that. You don't know this when you're gone because you're gone, but
I don't see the crying,
the sobbing,
the
it's-
weepy tears.
It's
You're sweet.
I try.
And to his right, Evan Price.
How's it going?
Not bad.
Decent.
Decent?
I'm
Decent?
all right.
Yeah, we're here. We're here.
And last but not least, Matt LeGrand.
Last and least, Matt LeGrand. What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? How are you guys doing?
They're
Well,
doing well. They're
excellent.
waving. saying
Yeah,
hi.
yeah.
It's good to see them. It's really good to see them.
Actually, that's
Yes.
like a direct address now when you do that.
I know,
It's like
yeah.
you're basically talking directly to them.
Because we are live streaming on YouTube.
The live thing.
Yep. If you guys are listening to this in post, you can tune in typically on Mondays at noon.
During your lunch hour, if you're the
Yes.
Pacific Northwest time zone.
And you can find us on YouTube. You can search for Dialed Podcast, the Dialed Podcast. Tune in,
Yeah.
subscribe, whatever they do, whatever the YouTubers
Correct.
So today we are here with episode number 48.
do. 48.
We're creeping up on the 50. Are we going to do
it's
something
right
for the
there.
half centennial? Yeah.
Sure, why not?
Do we need-
Blabber on about something, I'm sure.
Daniel.
Yeah, we'll do something fun. Let's get started with our back pedal. Lance, back pedal for us.
Back pedal. Well, I got some miles in this last week. I had a pretty decent week.
You weren't on a boat.
Yeah, I was not on a boat, but I did get some miles in. I put in almost 300 miles. It was 15 and a half hours or something like that. So I got some good rides in. I had a couple terrible rides where one actually in particular terrible ride because I was headed out and it was dry, and 20 miles out, the deluge of rain came, and I just rode soaked for the next 20 miles, just like trying to get home. So
Did you have rain gear on?
I had my rain gear on, but
Yeah.
it was cold. I was just kind of miserable. So anyway, but a highlight of the week, I actually got to ride with everybody at this table on Saturday.
Yes, sir.
And there was a ride on Wednesday that me and Jake and Matt were able to do.
Probably
I had some
Thursday.
serious fear of missing out during looking at pictures from that ride. I was
FOMO.
like, oh my God, I want to be
That
at
was
that ride.
Thursday.
I think it was Thursday.
Had to be.
Yeah. We headed out for
Yeah.
a little loop.
That was
just,
hard.
Was
That
the
was-
no scrubs ride?
Yeah, that's right. It was the Dutch Road.
Oh, I've been having so much fun with your titles.
I know, I love it. My titles are so boring compared to Lance's.
I'm
I
sure
need to
you-
work on my game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weezer put out this new album this
Okay.
week.
Seriously?
They did.
They did. Was it the Teal album?
The
It's
Teal
like a Miami
album.
Vice looking thing.
It's a covers album. It was just 10 songs, and they're all covers.
Oh, did they put their Africa cover on there?
Yeah, they put their Africa
Oh,
cover
cool,
on,
cool.
Oh,
but
that's
they
awesome.
covered TLC, No Scrubs,
No Scrubs?
Okay.
No.
and like Aha's Take on Me,
Oh, cool.
and Paranoid. I think that's an Ozzy Osbourne.
Let me ask you a question
song.
about that. I listened to I didn't listen to the whole song, but I listened to the whole album. Is that something where you're going to go back and listen to those over and over again? I didn't feel like they put enough of a Weezer spin on it. I mean, there's a little bit of their stamp on a couple songs in a couple of places, but it almost sounds like
It's like they
the
were just
world's
trying
best
to-
karaoke band
Yeah.
just nailed it, but it's like it's not Weezer.
They're just trying to like perfect it. It
Yeah.
sounded like.
There's a lot of people that do not like that Africa cover. I love that.
I think it's great.
I
It's
think
so
it's
close.
a great cover. I think it's awesome. Yeah.
Anyway, so I like the album. Yes, I'm gonna listen to it again. And they've got another album coming out soon as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
But
They're
Yeah.
busy.
Yeah.
Wow. Good for Weezer.
All right, so how are you feeling? How are the legs feeling as far as biking goes?
You
not
know-
to bring this back to biking,
I was
but
gonna bring it back to biking. I feel really good right now.
yeah.
I'm better than I thought. And I'm sure we'll get to this. We had a team ride on Saturday that we were all at, all four of us.
All four of us.
Plus,
It's gonna be part of all of our back pedal.
yep, plus 22 other people or something. We had a big
was
group.
huge.
that
Well,
showed
mostly
When
up.
we
just us.
left, it was 25 or 6, and we
26
picked up 5 more along
Yeah.
the way. So we were about 30.
About 30 people rolling.
On a very cold day, too. So 30 people on a day that was not like, that
Yeah,
warm.
it was
Yeah,
chill.
when we left my house to ride over to meet, it was 37 or 38, if
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken. Chilly.
Yeah.
I was just thinking some of those first couple like, pulls, like when we were out at Vancouver Lake, which is, for those of you guys that aren't from this area, it's kind of a flat area without stoplights or whatever. And you have a big group, and there's some solid riders there. It's just like huge group. Not there weren't a lot of scrubs, as
No,
as Lance would say.
there were
And
no
so it was kind
scrubs.
of like you could have a pack of 30 people rolling at 30 miles an hour.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah. It was a big group, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We had made it clear at the beginning of the ride that it was going to be a drop ride, which meant if you dropped off the pace, tough crap.
Yeah.
Basically,
Try not
catch
to.
us on the
Right.
on the out and back.
Which was great.
Which
no
was
one
great.
had a problem with
The
it.
ride's
No
ride's
one.
a bunch of out and backs though, so it works very nice. I mean, it's an awesome.
Yeah.
We
workout.
really sh-
like it's
yeah.
not a fearful drop ride. Like there's some rides you go on where you're like, oh crap, like
I
we're
don't
doing
wanna get dropped.
8,000 feet of climbing and I'm gonna get dropped. And this is bad. No, this is not one of those
Yeah.
rides. Yeah.
In fact, the way I looked at it was like, go ahead, let them because
Yeah.
there's so many opportunities to circle back. It was like, go ahead and let yourself get dropped on this first,
and then
bit
just be
here,
the rabbit on the way back.
and then
yeah.
here and here, and then it's like that you're saving yourself a little bit of energy for being able to get more miles in or
Right.
whatever it is. So it's pretty nice setup, that ride. So
Yeah.
It was good. I know everybody had their own experience on this ride,
Yeah.
so everybody will get
Well.
to tell their own experience
Well,
about this ride.
I want to hear the Lance experience from this ride.
Well, it was.
where did you go?
It was frustrating because I really, really wanted to ride with the group,
Yeah.
but we had flat issues. There was lots of flats.
Yeah.
And I'll let
That's
you
just
guys
the
tell
nature
your
of this
stories.
ride each year.
Evan had a flat. Jake had a flat.
Right.
And
A lot of other people had
and
flats too.
I felt a personal need to stay with Evan and stay with Jake. I
felt so
I just
bad.
wanted to.
You didn't.
So
you didn't care about me, did you?
well, you didn't flat, Matt. you stayed with the group.
You're a jerk.
I didn't flat either. But, so you're the jerk because you took off and I stayed.
I heard Evan's wheel go, and I just sprinted.
yeah. Yeah.
Go now. Now's your chance.
Now's the
I think
chance.
everybody heard it. It was not a subtle flat.
So it's good. Well, and because you were right on my wheel, so it was
Yeah.
kind of like it
Yeah.
was one of those things where it's like,
You got
is this
lucky.
my
I
wheel?
was
It
I was
could've been
feeling
mine.
good. I was getting ready to make sure that Matt was getting dropped from that group. That was my one goal. I was like, as soon as Matt peels off this front,
Yeah,
he's
I
getting
would
dropped.
have. I would have no problem there.
So I was frustrated because I really wanted to ride with the whole group, to hold 24 or 25 or 26 miles an hour on all these flat sections and be able to rotate with people. But what ended up happening is 35 miles into the ride, Evan unflatted, which was unfixable, and I'll let him tell that story. And Jake and I stayed with him to try to get it worked out. It didn't get worked out. So the group went ahead, but Jake and I and 5 others
Right.
tried to catch back onto the group. And what ended up happening is there were 6 of us pacelining, trying to catch the front group.
Okay.
But Jake and I dropped the other 4.
Right. Okay. So
That
I
was
was I was super curious as to what had happened because
So did you guys make it back to the group?
No.
Well,
Okay.
we didn't know where they were at. So
Yeah.
like there was a spot where we got to the end of the road where that's where I thought the turnaround was at.
Yeah.
But they kept going up, and for of all places, they
Right.
stopped at McDonald's, I guess, to get coffee or something, or just to warm up, or
Use
just
a bathroom.
That was
Okay.
their regroup spot, and. So Lance and I, we get to the spot where we think that they're gonna be,
Yeah.
and they're not there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a loop, a backside loop that you can take around this little airport there called the Troutdale Airport.
which I thought would have been an awesome idea.
Yeah,
It's
and I'm thinking,
beautiful
well, maybe
little-
That
they're
would've been cool,
Maybe
yeah.
they're on the backside of the Troutdale Airport. We need to turn around here in case that's where they're at, so we can hook up with them there. And well, lo and behold, they were at McDonald's, so we theoretically caught them. We just didn't know
Oh,
where
you guys
they
caught
were.
past him then. Yeah.
Right.
So we had passed Matt. Matt had turned around. I think. Did you get?
I went to the light. Same.
Matt went
Did you
to
get
the
dropped
light.
from the group?
No, Matt
No.
went to the light and turned around.
Were you with the team, with the group, and they kept going, and you turned around at the light?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I was so I'll tell you. I mean, might as well go into it. But like, I was. We waited for Evan for a while.
Yeah.
Like, and I think we all were waiting for him. And you were helping someone else with a flat, Jake. Someone else.
I was waiting for Evan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was going to pull Evan back on and help Evan work
Yeah.
together with them. And
But
then-
no, you were
yeah.
helping someone else with the
But
flat.
while waiting for Evan, I changed somebody else's flat tire and helped
Gotcha.
them out. So
And then
Jake was in flat mode. Like that was like.
And so I was
it's
like-
incredible to watch him change a flat.
I pushed on and went over the bridge. So for those of you guys that aren't from this area, I went from the state of Washington into the state of Oregon. You go over a bridge. And then like the whole group was like confused, like waiting for, and I think it was like because they're waiting for Jake, like who's like, where's the leader of this ride? Which way are we going? Like, how are we gonna go? Over to this area or whatever. And I was like, I'm gonna go through the Hooters parking lot like we did the other day. And we had kind of talked about that's the way we're gonna go. And so everyone else was like, no. And so like me and one other guy whose name was Quinn, like we went, started that route, and like no one was with us, so it's just the two of us, and we knew we had seen them, and we knew that they were coming. So it was like the two of us were just chilling out, just talking and riding, and we ended up going along the river. There's a river path, and you can go on Marine Drive, and we had talked about the group being so big that we could go on Marine Drive and hammer.
Drive, yep.
But the two of us were like, well, let's just go. I mean, we were looking back, we didn't even see him behind us, and so we went along the river. Totally awesome, which was great because he and I got to catch up, and like it was first time hanging out with him. Got to know him. He was a collegiate runner, so it was like we had oodles of stuff to talk about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
seemed
it
like
was
a cool
awesome.
guy.
Yeah, and so then we got off the path and got on Marine Drive, and we were going pretty solid, and all of a sudden the team came up on us, so we hop on the team wheel or whatever, and hammered our way all the way out to Troutdale. And at that point, I was like, I'm done. Which was awesome. I was really like happy with my ride and proud of it or whatever. Had worked really hard, and I was actually excited to ride by myself home because I knew I could just ride my own pace.
Right.
So I turned around and I start going home, and Quinn was like, he started to go with those guys and was like, no, I'm done too. And he turned around and he caught back up to me, and I was kind of like, oh, I guess we should keep that, get rolling again or whatever. But he and I had a great rest of our ride or whatever. And we did see you guys going out.
Yeah.
And you guys weren't that far off from that stoplight. If you think about it, you were by the airport at that time.
Yeah.
So what is that? It's probably a mile or so from the group. So you
just missed 'em.
You were catching them.
Yeah.
And they went underneath that overpass, and then they found some place to turn around there.
They turned
I
left
guess
and
McDonald's.
yeah.
Yep.
We were very close, less than a quarter of a mile away from him. So
Well, and then Jake and I were coming back, and
Were you guys hammering, the two of you?
We were tempo riding because we weren't exactly sure where the group was. So
Yeah.
we were kind of trying to catch you.
Okay.
And so,
And we went steady.
Yeah.
We had the two of us to work together, and we
Right.
went steady. And then I pushed a little bit going over the 205 a little bit, and then Quinn is super strong on the bike, but he was like, he had drank like 4 ounces of water, like he cracked, like he bonked big time, and then got him a gel, and then you guys were closing me down because I basically went straight home, and you guys were following me pretty closely.
yeah. Lance went straight to go finish out the rest of the ride. I needed to kind
Oh,
of
you did? Okay.
shut things down because my shoulder was starting to get a little like fatigued and,
Yeah.
and starting to feel like it wanted to like just be done.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that was
Yeah.
your longest outdoor ride so far.
Oh,
right.
yeah,
By a lot.
bar none.
Yeah.
And then my thought is like, I know Matt went up to 205. I'm like, I
Yeah.
kind of started like after this stupid 205 bridge. Every time you
Oh,
go
it's
up it or down it or whatever direction you're going, the wind is always
Yeah.
blowing in your
Yeah.
face.
Oh, it's a
I don't
guaranteed
know what
headwind.
it is. It's
Yeah.
like it swirls through there, and I seriously, it's always hitting you in the
Yeah.
face. So you're climbing up that thing, and I'm like, I just did this a couple days ago with the guys, and my legs were tired, so I went up it at a moderate pace. I wasn't
Yeah.
gonna like go breakneck.
That's
And
what
I'm
I
like,
did too.
Yeah.
I'm thinking to myself, I'm like crunching numbers based on when we saw Matt, how long it took me to change the flat, and then deducting the speed that we were putting in, probably catching up to him when we were heading back to the 205 bridge.
This
People
just
that are
sounds
from
like
the area-
such an awesome mess.
Yeah.
Like this
It was.
It's
That's
just
what it
this
was.
is what happens with
splinter.
flats.
It was
This is
a
what
30.
happens with flats.
It was a
yeah.
30-person group that got completely splintered, and it was an
Yeah.
awesome. It was an awesome mess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
So
But-
what happened was coming back.
Yeah.
Jake and I were trying to catch you. Jake flatted.
Yeah, I caught a big nail.
Again?
Yes.
No, I only had one flat.
You
You
And
caught
that
a
was
nail
one
too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where
my
was
God.
Where was it?
And it was on Marine Drive.
It was about halfway between where we saw you in on Marine Drive, halfway back to the
Right.
205 bridge.
by the
So-
park or something
so
like that.
me, Jake, and Kurt Critchko stopped to
did you guys-
change his flat.
How did you guys
and
pick up Kurt?
He had dropped off us on the way out.
Did he flat too?
No.
No,
okay.
his wife did. He went back and helped her.
So he was with us, which was good because Jake had given all his CO2s to Evan. So
This idiot over here. Yeah.
I had a CO2 to give to Jake, so we were able to fix his flat.
Need my hand pump, guys. Need my hand
I really could have used
We're
that.
friends with CO2.
Yeah.
But after that, we're hammering back. Jake decides to go up the 205 bridge to try to catch you.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I decided
Push on.
I'm going to catch the group by myself.
You're chasing no one.
On a century ride, by the way. You have
Yes.
mentioned you made it. I saw that you made it the century.
I didn't look at your ride.
Which is what I'm so mad about because if you were doing that whole, I would have done that whole century with you, especially as soon as you hit 90.
So Kurt Critchko decided he was going to stay with me.
Okay.
He sat on my wheel for 25 miles.
Wow. Just kind of like Marine Drive,
Yep.
like straight.
Just me, head down.
Did you go-
pushing 300 watts?
Did you go along the water or?
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
you or did you stay on Marine Drive or did you
No,
use the-
I went along the water,
yeah.
and I was
path.
trying to push like 23, 24 miles an hour for like the next hour.
Dude.
And I did not gain on the group. I watched the flyby on Strava, and I did not gain on the group because they were
working together?
They were 10 guys working together, and it was me.
Yeah.
trying to pull myself back.
That's a good workout, man.
But it was good workout.
Marine Drive's not the area you're going to be able to pull that
No,
back.
not
Yeah.
not by myself. So,
Yeah.
but I I did. I ended up doing 100 miles, and I actually felt
Where did you go?
Good.
How did you get 100 in? Because it's 80 back to.
I had started at my house. I rode out to the start,
Okay.
and then
So
all the way out to Vancouver Lake,
Yeah.
all the way out to Frenchman's Bar, all the way out to Troutdale, from Troutdale all the way back to the I-5 bridge, and then all the way back to Camas to Jake's house.
okay.
I saw you when I was driving away, actually.
Wait,
Oh.
you
Yeah.
rode back to my house?
I did.
I saw him coming out of your neighborhood, yeah.
Oh, okay, but you didn't stop by to say hi. You
did
just
not,
came. Okay, gotcha.
Because Brandy was at Michael Myers' house.
Gotcha. And then you rode there.
And then I rode there.
Gotcha.
And I was like 3 miles short, so I did a little loop
Yep.
to try to
That's when I saw you. Because I was like, what is Lance doing heading out this
I
direction?
did an extra loop to get the 100 miles. Yeah.
Cool. Well, congrats, man.
And yeah, and I
big
did.
day in
I
there.
felt like decent. I didn't feel too beat up the next day.
Yeah.
It was it was
Got to match him
good.
with a 100er this Saturday. That's awesome. Is that your first century 2019 then?
yes, I think
Yeah.
so.
First century.
Well, it's only
You're the first one that
3 weeks
in this
old.
area that I've seen to a century. I don't think I've seen anybody else drop a
There's
century yet.
usually a couple guys that like
in
go to
in
it,
our
like,
group. In our group.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
no.
Andy Levine.
Andy Levine.
Oh,
one.
did Andy drop? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Evan, back pedal force.
Whew, I'll do this one real quick. So, well, okay. So to start the week, I had every plan, as I had said last Monday, promised falsely that I was going to continue training hard for another week to make it now 5 weeks in a
block,
row.
yeah.
No, that didn't happen. So I got Tuesday morning, I woke up feeling not good. So I was like, okay, I'm going to skip the swim. Tuesday after, or I swam over lunch then, and then Tuesday after work, still not feeling good. I'm like, probably need to skip the run. Went to sleep Tuesday night, woke up in a pool of sweat Wednesday morning,
man.
feeling very feverish, like bad feverish.
Oh,
Chugging water. I don't miss work ever, so I'm like, all right, we're going to chug a ton of water, eat a bunch of oranges, and probably not swim this morning. Had to take it easy Wednesday. I did do a bike workout Wednesday. Kind of got back to it Thursday, feeling better by Friday going into the weekend. So it became like a impromptu recovery week. It was about 13 or 14 hours of training, I think.
That's actually pretty quick recovery.
Yeah. I really don't like when I get sick, it's like a 24-hour thing. It's like I can get through it in 24 hours.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was an impromptu recovery week. But I'm almost glad it happened that way because now I feel really, really good now. Like yesterday, it felt great. Like I did a bike workout yesterday and hit numbers I have not hit on an over-under workout before.
Maybe you needed it.
Yeah.
It's always better just to be a slightly undertrained as opposed to being slightly overtrained.
Exactly.
I'd even rather be a little bit more undertrained than just slightly overtrained because that's going to carry with you and that can wreak havoc. So listen to the body.
And I think just the little getting sick is probably the sign that, hey, it's time to recover. But to the ride on Saturday, like legs actually felt great at the beginning of that ride. Like when Jake and Lance came to the front when we got to Vancouver Lake, I felt great. Like whole time, like you guys are pulling up front. I'm like, oh, this is going to be fun. Like me, Jake, and Lance are going to really like crank up the pace here. Jordan was looking good too. So I was like, okay, this is going to be a solid, fast ride. And we held a good pace out. Coming back, I think at some point the groups got split up on the turnaround and I had to bridge a gap and just bridge the whole gap, which felt good. Lance comes to the front as we're going out. We're going to drop Matt here, which is going to be fun. And then we're going to...
like anytime you want.
And we're feeling good. Lance looks good. And I hit a nail so gosh darn. It actually kind of made me jump a little bit. Like, I thought for sure I'd blown off the back wheel as soon as it happened. Like, that's how hard I hit this nail. Immediately have to pull over. Me and David start to change it as quick as we can. I did not check the rim well enough. Put in a tube, pop the tube. Oh. And then Jake comes back as we're trying to get the second one in. And at that point, I had checked the rim, and that nail did a number on that rim. Like, it went straight through that tire and just scraped up the rim.
Yeah, it had like little barbs and
scraped up. Okay.
Yeah, like really scraped up the rim to the point where, so Jake does his MacGyver thing and tries to get like a little patch on the rim.
We booted it, and it would have worked, but that wheel
we pinched. Yeah. That wheel is a
Integra wheel.
nightmare.
It's solid.
Yeah.
But it's so hard to get
tires
tubes on the tires on the bead.
Yeah.
And then once you get it set up, it's hard to see because the depth of that wheel where the tube sits in there and whatnot is pretty deep. So it's kind of hard to see if you've actually got the tube underneath the bead of the tire.
Yeah.
It just pinched flat. As soon as we hit it with CO2, it pinched and it just popped right away. I was like, son of a... Yeah. And we probably could have made it work, but Evan's like, nah, I'm done. Get out of here. Just leave.
At that point, I'm like, I have already ruined this ride, so I need like everybody just go at that point. But
we had a big group wait for a little bit and then push on. It was not a big deal.
Good. I'm glad people pushed on at that point. But yeah, would have loved to hang. That would have been a fun ride.
Yeah.
I was anxious to just do some work with you guys.
I know. I really wanted to see.
It just splintered. It just fell apart.
It did.
We'll make it happen one of these days.
But yeah, outside of that, looking forward, I've got already planned out my next 4 weeks. There's going to be a ton of volume, and February is going to be kind of where I build the base for the race season. So it's going to be fun.
It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, back pedal, bud. Matt's phone back pedal for us.
He's doing
Shut up, Siri. Yeah, awesome week. So, a couple things. I think maybe 2 weeks ago I said like, oh, this is the biggest swim week I've ever had. I think I topped that again.
Well done.
Yeah, I know. Like really swimming solid amount of volume, and I did it in like 5 swim days as opposed to 6 or whatever. So another 18,000 plus yards or whatever it was, like good solid amount. Still haven't cracked 20 yet, so that'll happen at some point.
This week, maybe?
Maybe this week.
I'm going to try to do it this week if you do it this week.
It could, definitely could be something. And I might have, I don't know, I haven't listened to Jake, but also similar to Lance, I hit 15 and a half hours.
Wow.
For the week, which is kind of a big jump for me to go from like 10 and a half to 15 and a half hours.
Yeah.
And a lot of that was swimming. I mean, I only biked 3 times and I only ran twice. I mean, it was just a lot of swimming. The big long bike ride, our group ride, that helps, right? Like, when you do a 4+ hour ride, like that's just going to help your overall weekly, hours
Right.
or whatever it is. So.
And you were doing great, Matt. You were doing just fine.
I was out there. Hanging with the
Yeah.
big boys. The training wheels, like they are okay.
Yeah.
Leave the training wheels on, and then it's like maybe I'll take them off next ride. I don't know. And ran a track workout this week, was good, and then was still able to get my long run in. Solid long run, I think 11 miles or so. So it's solid. I think that's still, it's the longest I've gone in a while. So everything looks like it's really coming around, starting to feel better in every single discipline. I'm pretty happy with the week. So, and honestly, I look at that and I'm like, I missed, like a lot of easy stuff. Like I missed a whole bunch of easy bike rides. Like that could have easily been like 20-hour week. Like it would just, I missed a couple bike rides and a couple runs, and it would have been a 20-hour week, which is, I don't need to be doing that volume right now, but
You can be back
looking
up
good.
over that leading into Canada, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
So super pumped. And I got to swim with the Evan Price this morning, right before the podcast.
We keep on doing these 200 sets to end.
To finish off.
My goal is for Matt not to fully embarrass me. He embarrasses me by like a body length or so each time, but it's like I got you on the first one. I was like, oh, I'm set, and then he just toasted me on the next 3. I thought for sure after that first one, I was like, oh, I finally am like even with Matt on these.
Yep. I think we're having fun. I mean, we have this cool group. On Mondays.
We're getting faster, the 3 of us. Well, I mean, like you and me are getting faster. Nate, I assume, is getting faster, but he's so far ahead I can't tell.
It's hard to say. He's just dominating us in the water, which is good. So great week. Jake, how was your week?
Not too bad. I had a good solid 10-hour week for me. Awesome. And the best part about that is the vast majority of that was outside.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think
More than half, right?
Oh,
Well, more than half.
It was about 6 hours of it. So we did the team Zwift ride on Tuesday, which was good.
Yeah.
Good workout, and then
Which you should all know, I got dropped on.
Did you?
I did.
Well, that's just because you had just gotten off the boat. You had,
Even Matt dropped me on the Zwift ride. Yes, you did.
No.
Anyway.
no.
Yeah.
Well, you'd already ridden earlier that day too. So
Yes, but
I don't think I did though. If you go back and look
no,
at it, I bet you I
did. Because I clearly remember as soon as we went hot at like the last 4 miles, the whole group rode away from me, and I was like, "Screw it."
I shut it down. Like I
It's
did
so much worse when it's virtual.
That's right.
Yeah, because I sprinted with that 4 minutes to go, and it was literally my sprint was like less than a minute or something like that, and then I was like, "Yep, that's it."
That was 30 seconds more than me.
Okay.
So you dropped me.
I didn't think I did. If I'd known that, I would have waited for you and chilled out because I totally I was like, and I'm cooling down.
Are there like virtual flats? Like is that a
Virtual,
thing?
it was a virtual
No,
flat.
I
Okay.
I just
how
crapped
funny would
out.
that be? All of a sudden, you get a flat, you get
Flat
a pull
tire.
over. It's like a penalty box for a minute.
Stupid. It's already stupid enough as
a
it is.
minute. Let's be honest. Lance's would be like 20. That's Lance is closer to mine.
So yeah, we did that. Did the little ride that Lance alluded to on Thursday outside with Lance and Matt and Chris Eric.
Chris Eric
Yep.
came with
That
us.
was a cool ride.
It was nice.
That was
Yeah.
fun.
You guys waited for me. I appreciate it.
You bet.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I loved it, man.
Then that team ride, and I cursed myself. I shouldn't have said this beforehand. It's like told everybody before we left, this is going to be a drop ride.
Yeah.
If you get dropped, then they're going to keep riding. You just try and hook back up as best you possibly
then
can.
everybody gets flat.
Know the route. And it said, and if you get a flat, I'm like, oh crap, I don't want to just leave somebody stranded. I'm like, I'll stop with you. So I volunteered myself. So I stopped with everybody I saw. And then there was the first little regroup spot. We didn't really stop for too long, but it was a nice little pee break there because that's how I roll. So I'm using the bathroom and I'm still zipping up my thing, and you guys all were hot to trot and rolled out of there, and I look up and
Yeah, I know, I
everybody's
had to
100
bridge a
yards
gap
ahead of me.
there.
I'm like, God, so I'm hammering to catch back up because you guys are already getting back up to tempo, and just
I
as
think that
I'm
was
just
Lance's
about ready to
doing.
catch the group, I see a pair of sunglasses on the ground. I'm like,
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
saw when those dropped.
I'm not going to ride right by those and whatnot and let you guys, to catch up to you guys. So I stopped and turned around and went back and picked him up, and the group rolls away again, and I give them to Mike Hamness because he was the one that dropped him.
It was Mike. It was funny because Mike, he's right next to me. He hits
kept
a bump.
riding hard,
He's
didn't he?
like, screw it. I'm staying with the group. Forget the sunglasses. And I look back and go like, Mike, somebody stop for your glasses.
That was me.
It was Jake.
So I give him his glasses, and then you guys are hammering away again. I'm like,
Was this out at Vancouver Lake?
yeah, this is heading out now
That
to
was-
Frenchman's Bar. And so I had my head tucked down. I was putting down like 370, 380 watts
Yeah.
for probably 5 or 6 minutes trying to catch back on. I start
Wow.
passing some people that are dropping off. And I see the group kind of come into focus. I'm like, nah, screw it. I'm not going to just work up to get to them because we're just going to go up there and regroup. We were supposed to stop and regroup. The group didn't stop and regroup. They turned around and then started hammering back out again. And there's people that were kind of getting spread out all over the place. I'm like, dang it. So I had to hammer back up to catch up to you guys again and like
That was
corral
the
everybody.
strangest, like it was the strangest breakup because like
Yeah.
I thought we were going easy at one point, and then all of a sudden there's this group of I think were you out there? It was like a group of 6 guys go off. I'm like, oh crap, they're like really
was-
pushing right
It was
now.
weird dynamics.
Yeah,
For some
and then
of that.
I
Yeah.
get on the front and push. I'm like, oh, good, we'll all work together. It was apparently just me bridging this gap. I wasn't sure if people thought we were going easy or not.
So I got back up to the front of that train and said, whoa, pull over. So we regrouped. Everybody got their food and whatnot. And after
Okay,
that's
so
when
I got you. That's when we pulled over. I was like, "Why are we pulling over? What's going on?"
yeah,
Like,
we were supposed
Yeah.
to stop at the end where the road
Oh.
head ends. So
Yeah, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
I'm sure people are like, all right, enough
It's
about
my
this
fault.
stupid group ride. You
It
guys
kind of
went
was
on.
Lance's fault because as we were coming out to the right turn, Lance was like, all right, it's time to put out a 400-watt effort here out of nowhere.
So, yeah, that was about the culmination of my week. But the whole thing with my week is I went into this week needing a recovery week. And so we went out and we did our little Thursday ride and we had our Tuesday Zwift ride. The Thursday ride was supposed to be somewhat easy and we still kind of hammered a few sections in there just because that's how we do. And then the ride on Saturday was pretty long, and there was a lot of times in there was just me and Lance, and we're like trading poles. Like I'm sitting on his wheel, like holding 300 watts, and he's doing the same thing for me, and you're up in the front of that 340, 350, and we're trying to work our way back up to the group. So I mean, I'd say at least 30 miles,
Yes.
40
it was
miles.
At least 30 miles.
We were just
doing that.
constantly just hammering. So.
So did you end up with 80 for the day?
I was 80.
Okay.
I got back to my house and I was like at 78.9. I'm like, I can't have
Right.
that. And so I went up, rode around the school, and came back to the house and
Yeah.
I finished it up with almost 81. So, but yeah.
I'm dying to know like how your shoulder felt for that long ride and how like your body, because that's the longest ride you've done some long stuff on the trainer.
Yeah.
But it's
My
different. It's
legs were
different, you
fine.
know.
Legs were fine. The shoulder was starting like it started to get fatigued, and then when your muscles starts to really get fatigued, and it feels like it's gonna like not give out, but just gonna like just be done. Just
Yeah.
like kind of like ugh,
Yeah.
I didn't want to hurt it, so I was kind of babying it once I left Lance, and I was trying not to put too much pressure on it and being mindful of things that I was hitting. I was like cautious the entire time with
Yeah.
it. So,
Yeah.
but I think it's a testament to the physical therapy that Evan's been doing, and then me trying to spend more time
It's
with
a
my
testament
hand,
to the work that you've been putting in
Well,
for it.
the-
I mean, really, that's, yeah.
the home exercise stuff that he has me doing, and then trying to ride with my hands on the bars a little bit more, and that paid off. I mean, I was able to make it through 80 miles. So that part is good. And actually going to see the doctor tomorrow, and I get to find out like kind of what the status is, and he's going to do some testing on it, and I'm sure I'm going to have to go back in for another EMG. And the last time I saw him, he told me that he didn't want me, like I could be riding a bike, and if I were to ride outside, nothing out of the saddle, nothing sprinting, nothing pulling on the bars, when you get into that
Yeah.
sprint mode, until he sees me again next, which is tomorrow. So I could be getting the green light to start doing some sprint work. And the other thing is hill climbing too. That was another thing that I had to be real careful of as well. So I'm kind of excited to get the green light to start doing that stuff, because that will help me start to develop my upper body while on the bike. There's a lot that's lost when you're just sitting on a trainer and you're not, you're just being very linear, and it's pretty much everything from like your hips down is getting work. And then, anyway.
It's also why it's harder to put out heavy watts on the trainers, because there's only really half your body that's doing
yeah,
any of the
you
watts.
can get out it and sprint, especially with these Wahoo kickers that we
Yeah,
all use. You
can.
can definitely do some out of the saddle sprinting stuff, but it's just not the same as being outside and putting yourself through the paces and working out. Specifically for developing like that sprint power, which isn't just your legs, it's your whole body. And I haven't been able to do that, so I'm hoping to be able to do that soon.
How about like nutrition or anything like that? Did you feel pretty low by the end of it, or you felt okay? Take gels? Or?
You know what? I've been intermittent fasting for a long time, so I think my body's getting better at metabolizing fats as opposed to needing that glycogen in there and filling that bonk. You know, I didn't intermittent fast that day. I definitely got up at 5:30 and started drinking fluids and eating and whatnot and getting ready for everything.
Yeah, you peed like 7 times before we left.
I was a little nervous that I was going to cramp, so I did drink extra fluids, and of course, you know, what goes in has to come out. But I didn't really have any issues.
Lance, how about you at the 100? Did you have enough fuel?
I had 2 bottles, and I ate 2 packets of the Scratch Lab chews.
You're good.
That was it, and I was okay.
Good.
But I woke up and had a full breakfast,
Yeah.
which I hadn't been doing for the last week.
Yeah, I had oatmeal and I had some bananas and an English muffin with some peanut butter on it. So that was what I had, and that fueled me just fine. So everything was good. It's just the fatigue was starting to set in, and I didn't want it to give out, and that's why I cut it short, because I kind of felt like I was getting to that point.
Good decision.
So yeah, it was good. I have no regrets. That was an awesome ride. It was perfect. It was exactly what the doctor ordered. It gave me that vote of confidence that I need to go into training camp to know, all right, you've got the legs, you've got the lungs, you still need to drop some total body weight, but my body composition's changing. I can somewhat hang with people, and I can start doing some climbing between now and then, so that when we do get into climbing mode, I'm hoping that I'll be able to do fine there. Worst case scenario, I'll just sit and spin as much as I possibly can, and we should do fine.
Yeah.
Could be a lot of fun, or it could be painful, but I'm gonna.
It'll be painful either way.
I'm
But
thinking it's gonna be like a mixture of both.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about the weight challenge real quick.
Speaking of fasting,
Yeah, just real quick. We got to
Yeah,
get
none
through
of us
this
are
quickly.
doing
Just a
nutrition.
quick update. Sorry, I'm making all kinds of noise here. Lance, where are we at here?
I am down 3 pounds. That's it.
wow, nice. All
Yeah.
right.
Nice.
So I was up
3 pounds from the initial 10?
Yes.
Okay.
Whoa.
So
Okay.
I was up 2 last. So I was down 5 this week.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
a lot
Oh,
of
that's
weight to
big.
lose in 1 week.
That's
Yeah,
big.
it was a lot for 1 week.
Good.
Yeah.
How about you, Evan?
I am at 154, so up 2 pounds from last week,
Okay.
down 3 pounds overall. I don't know. We'll see how this next week goes.
Yeah. I
about
don't,
you, Matt?
I don't remember what I was last week, but I'm getting pretty close.
You were hinting that you were getting close.
I'm getting close. Yeah.
How
well,
close?
it's weird because you and I have been
I'm going to have
talking.
to go on the starvation diet here
Yeah.
if he's close.
No,
we
I
cannot let Matt
I
win.
think like prior to this weekend, I think I was like within 2 pounds or so, or right around 2 pounds. And then I enjoyed my Sunday, after my workouts. And now I'm like 3 pounds, I think, within 3 pounds.
Within 3 pounds.
Yeah. So
Three-
I'm close.
3 pounds away from winning?
So
Yeah.
you're down
Okay.
7.
Down
Wow.
7.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I will be close by Monday for sure. But I think we should have something where it's like you hit the weight and then you need to hit it like 2 days in a row or
Yeah.
something like that. So it's not just like I starved myself for 1 day.
Dehydration.
Yeah.
That's
Should
the
we say
problem
that
I'm going to be dealing with.
2
this.
consecutive mornings you have to hit it?
Do you want to do that? It's
Sure.
I'm gonna
Take a picture of 2 consecutive mornings, I guess.
when I
Yeah.
win, I'm gonna just share my data. Share my data with you guys. See how I
You're,
phrase it.
you're assuming I'm not going to just fast for the next 2 days and train normally and hope that I can hold that then.
Yeah, because that's healthy.
Yeah.
You may or may not die.
Says the
but-
medical professional.
Yeah.
So you gotta call your shot and say you hit it for day 1, and then when day 2
Yeah.
rolls around, it's kind of like playing Uno. You got to say Uno and
Exactly.
you got 1 card
Uno,
left in your
yeah.
hand, and then
Same.
if nobody's got
Oh,
that
if you-
draw 4 pounds on Matt, then he
Draw
gets to
4
lay down his last card. And
If
he's
you
done.
hit it, I am like going to bring cinnamon rolls over to your house and eat them right in front of you.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
I have seen so many different numbers on that stinking scale.
Yeah.
I've even questioned, like, I had my wife, I'm like, have you been noticing that it's kind of like all over the place? And she's like, yeah, I think so. Then she went to the gym to go swim.
Yep.
And she's like, yeah, it's the same there too. So I don't know. I think she and I are both like fluctuating or something.
I
but,
think it's the fog. Yeah.
I've been down as much as, what was it, 6 pounds, and I've been 3 pounds, like in back-to-back days. It's like, how did I really change that much? I mean, nothing really changed with my diet. It's not like I ate something crazy last night or whatnot, but my body weight is still fluctuating. So I think the last time I checked, and it was on Saturday, if I'm not mistaken, before we did the ride, when I got up in the morning, I think I was down, I think it was 4.5 or 5 pounds. So I'm about halfway there.
Okay.
But body composition's changing.
Me and
I'll
Lance
take
are
that.
last.
So
That's the other thing is we might have just briefly discussed this before the podcast, but like one of the things that my scale does is body fat percentage. And I did look at reviews on like, accuracy of body fat percentage, right? Like that's, it's something you look at and you're like, that's highly questionable. But I think it's the same thing, whereas like if you follow the protocol and you like do the same thing every day, then you can take those numbers and you can see if you're trending in the right direction. And it's the trending that's probably the most important part, not necessarily like that
the actual
your numbers are perfect
it's
or whatever.
It's just one data point.
Yeah. And so body fat percentage, I think, is trending in the right direction for me. It's still not, it's not what I would hope for at all. So hopefully I still think there's room for improvement there for sure. And it should be fine by the time we get to kind of Ironman racing time.
Absolutely.
But,
absolutely.
So.
All right. Let's move on. Today's topic. All right, guys. I want you to pick one thing in cycling or triathlon, whatever you choose, doesn't matter. And I want it to be something that you either really love or you really hate. And then you've got to make your case as to why you want that to be either mainstream because you love it or that you want it to go away forever because you hate it. So let's run around the table and start with Lance. Lance got this look in his face like, I don't have, or I'm not sure.
I don't hate anything.
Do you want us to come back to you, Lance?
No, I thought about this for a long time. A long time meaning an hour since Jake gave us this assignment. Yeah. But the thing that really came to me as I was thinking about this is something I really love that I wish was more mainstream, and that's gravel riding. And I guess we've talked about gravel riding.
Would you say gravel riding or gravel racing? What do you mean?
Or how about just a gravel bike in general?
Just a gravel bike in general.
So Lance is going to make the case that everybody needs to own a gravel bike.
I would definitely want to make the case that everybody should own a gravel bike.
I'd be down for that.
You just want people to ride with you, which makes sense.
Well,
what gravel bike do I need?
You just need something that can take 38 or 40 millimeter tires. Yeah. Because you're just going to have a softer, more comfortable, beautiful, less flat ride, And the best thing about gravel rides is no traffic. There's no cars out there. You don't deal with the cars. Yep. So that's why I love it. You're usually in the mountains or in the country, so the area is beautiful, and getting out on those backcountry roads, I love that stuff.
Let me play devil's advocate and say you don't have cell coverage where you are.
Correct.
And to me that
50% of the time, half the time you don't have cell coverage.
And instead of sea lions, you have bears that are the bears are the bears of gravel.
Cougar
attacks. and so gravel riding, no. Horrible idea.
So we're gonna have to get you one of those little GPS devices that Garmin makes, where you can. I think you can text with them, if I'm not mistaken, but they can at least track where you're at.
Well, and if you get you can get a GPS signal without cell coverage.
Oh yeah. That's the point. Yeah, so you take that. I mean, you just have that for emergencies and one more thing for you to carry on the bike. But I'm gonna push for you to get one. I'm gonna talk to Brandy.
The beauty of gravel riding and gravel racing is you're out in this beautiful country. You don't have cars to deal with. Mm-hmm. It's if you have the right bike, it is just comfortable. It is not like a rattle fest like you would think, because you're riding on tires that are 38 or 40 millimeters and running at 25 or 35 PSI if you're running tubeless. Yeah. And so it just smooths it all out. It just smooths it all out. So that's the beauty of it.
In this region, gravel grinding is definitely, I'm sure, worth it. Yeah. There's so many between the western states out here. There's got to be so many good routes.
It is kind of exploding. I would say it's definitely growing. Last year, in the Oregon area, we had how many gravel races on our calendar? There might have been 3.
I think it was 3, yeah.
I think there was 3 gravel races on our calendar, and this year there's 8, I think, and a couple of them are, there's a 3-day event and there's a 4-day event here in Oregon.
Wow.
Yeah.
4-day event.
They're also recognizing it now as a sanctioned race,
right.
And you're getting bar points, which is best all-around rider points, which is kind of like this overall competition that everybody who's involved with OBRA, the Oregon Bicycle Racing Association, will compile points throughout the course of the year, and it's a competition. It just keeps people coming out. And the same thing with USAC. There's points that you get for the racing that you do out there, but it's official now. They're awarding people bar points for these races. So
that's pretty cool.
So now you have a gravel specific bike, right?
I do.
Probably the setup and the layup of the framing is slightly different than cyclocross, probably a little bit lower, or
it's a little slacker angle. So your front wheel is not tucked so much underneath you.
Yep.
It's laid out a little bit more, so they're a little more stable.
And is that a BMC? What?
I have a Norco. It's
Norco?
a Canadian bike. Yeah.
And you like it okay?
I do. I had some major problems with the crank when I first had it, and we finally solved that after a year. It took a year to figure it out, but we finally figured it out, and I do like it.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, it's carbon, it's comfortable, it's it's not a cheap bike. It was a $3,000 bike or a $3,500 bike.
But
you
you're
can get
probably one of your favorite bikes.
Cheaper
Yes,
than
it
time trial
is.
bikes still.
Yeah.
By a lot. Yeah.
And you can get a decent gravel bike for a couple grand.
Right.
Yeah. But those are big numbers to swallow for a whole separate thing if you're not going to actually do it.
Yep.
And I invested in it because I plan on doing 5 or 6 different races this year, gravel races.
And those race options will just continue to grow.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sure they will. It's just going to be like cyclocross. The schedule's going to keep on expanding and expanding.
The problem with gravel bike, like, if you're a manufacturer, is that you run into as a manufacturer, I think they see it as an opportunity to sell more bikes. So they're, it's like, we've sold you a cyclocross bike, now we want to sell you another bike. So they're going to make those bikes. But I think you run into the problem of like the difference between cyclocross bikes and gravel bikes is a little bit more minuscule, and because you can use one bike for both.
Yes.
Either take one direction or the other. But like, I think you have that problem. Yes, there'll be more choices, but you also have the conflict of like taking a cyclocross bike and just using it for sure. Yeah. So, swap out tires. I mean, you don't even have to swap out much at all.
No. And I've done a lot of gravel rides on my cyclocross bike before I bought the gravel specific bike. And there was one event that prompted me to get a gravel specific bike, and it was I was on my cyclocross bike. I was coming down a gravel descent, and I was moving pretty fast, 25 or 30 miles an hour down this gravel descent. It was not steep.
Not smart.
It was not steep, and it was straight, so I was kind of hammering it along. And I hit a soft section of gravel.
Oh, no.
And what happened was, because the cyclocross bike, that wheel is tucked up underneath you, I went over the handlebars just like that. Just plowed into the gravel with my head.
Yeah, you get higher center of gravity to the bottom brackets are higher just because you want more clearance for all this stuff.
Yeah.
So it just makes it to be a little bit twitchier of a ride.
Yeah. And so after that, and I'm out in the woods by myself.
Yep.
No cell coverage.
No GPS phone.
I'm like, am I okay? Am I injured? And I wasn't injured. And of course I had to, reef my...
Softly landed in
not.
the gravel.
No, I drilled my head into the gravel, but it was soft gravel.
Yeah.
So, once I got the gravel bike, that thing just descends like a dream.
Right.
I can bomb on that thing and feel way more comfortable going on it.
So what are some other knocks? Matt brought up one. What's another knock for gravel riding that people would say, no, I don't want to do that?
You generally can't leave from your house.
True.
Yeah.
You need to. You got to drive an hour.
Destination thing.
Yeah, destination thing.
But you probably could, your gravel bike is fine on the roads.
Correct.
So you can probably go from your house, literally, and bike for an hour. It probably is an hour.
Right. So
to get to a good,
I put
decent
in
gravel.
I put in 20 or 25 miles to get to the start of decent gravel.
Right.
All of a sudden, that's a pretty long day.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. If I want to put in 40 miles on gravel and I add another 50 getting there and getting back, that's a long day.
You're going to have a century day.
What else do you have to do? Come on,
That's
man.
a good point. Let's not go down that road.
Sterner, you're not gonna move the Lance compound. The romance
That's
compound.
not there's no plan to move the compound.
Okay, just checking. All right.
All right. Well, I think you sold me, Lance. I got to get a
All right.
gravel bike now.
Gravel stuff.
I like it. I like it.
All right, Evan.
Okay, so I'm going to do a cycling one here. I'm not going to talk triathlon on this.
What?
So I would like to see
You're
if
off the team.
there was a time period. This was maybe 3 years ago, 4 years ago. I'm gonna give some history on this when the hour record became really popular for pro cyclists to give a shot.
So when Gen Z did it,
Yes.
he came back and did it. Yeah.
Yep. And then when Wigo took it in 2000, I got the dates here actually to make sure I'm not getting it wrong. 2015 is when Wigo took it.
Yeah.
And so just the world record right now, I like tossing this number out so people can just think about this. Bradley Wiggins set the record, and he traveled 54 and a half kilometers in an hour. Now, this is now the record because they refortified, they kind of reunified the rules on the hour record because it was something that was very popular to try back in the Merckx era.
Yeah.
A lot of cyclists were trying the hour record at that time, and then it hit a big dead period for after Chris Boardman set it. Once Chris Boardman set it in what was called the Superman position at that time, which was a very splayed out position. If you want to see some funny pictures, look at the position he was in. He put it out of reach from at that time, just from an aerodynamics point of view. There's nobody else who was going to be able to hold that position. He put it well out of reach, and it hit this big dead period for a long time. And just to backpedal, the hour record is always on a track. So it's on a velodrome track, and you can imagine they basically just ride around that thing as hard as they can for 1 hour, and then at the end, that's what it's a record by distance. And Eddie Merckx was famously saying that was the hardest day he ever had on a bicycle, was when he set that record. Yeah. Said that was the hardest thing he ever did on a bicycle.
Wow.
Which you can imagine, if you are at the level that these guys ride at, the amount of pain that they can go through for 1 hour is almost like unimaginable to me.
I feel like this is totally like shooting from the hips, but I feel like when Wiggins said it, he held like 420 watts or something crazy.
I actually think it was almost. I need to look at those numbers. I think it was between 420 and 440.
It's
and
ridiculous.
He weighed, I want to say, it was like 71 or 72 kilos, which means his hour long power to weight there is well over. I mean, oh my God, that's huge. I mean, I think he was at like 440 at like 70 kilos, which means that he's closing on 7 for an hour.
That's nuts.
Which is just an astro.
440. He held
440
440 for an hour.
That's what I thought. It was 440. And what he weighed 70 kilos at that time, didn't he?
70 kilos.
So
that's what I weigh right now.
Was he clean
And
though?
he's taller than you.
I probably not. Let's be honest. I love Wiggins though.
He's a good guy.
He's a good guy. I love him. Was he clean? I don't know. Probably.
There's whispers of him in his era.
I'd be hard pressed to believe that he was clean at all.
We should be hard pressed. We should all kind of be like,
yeah.
It's almost kind of like
all these astronomical.
every single person that's at that level.
Do I believe Jans was clean? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I believe Voigt was clean, and I think that he was just barely over 50 kilometers.
We should probably question everyone.
Yeah.
Even if it's people that we like Jans Voigt. And I mean, he rode in the peloton with that group.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily like he did this, even though like the micro doping thing is definitely real.
Yeah.
There's other stuff too.
Blurring the lines. Yeah.
It's very blurry.
Absolutely
right?
blurring the lines. There.
Like a lot of the same stuff that the runners are doing, like the thyroid medication.
Oh,
and
yeah. Everybody's got asthma. Yeah.
Yeah. And what's the other? There's another set of stuff that's like.
Well, a
blood
lot of them.
infusion
A lot
type
of them
stuff.
are using B12 injections too, which is technically the injections is what makes it
crosses the line.
Yeah,
right. It's like-
crosses the line.
It's all the stuff that's pretty blurry. Where
Yeah.
but still, I mean, 440 watts.
440 watts for an
Just
hour.
hold it for an hour.
An hour.
So
That's amazing.
back to your point.
Yeah.
What are you trying to get us to buy into, or
So-
what do you want to go away?
What I want is the cycling community, because I remember, I mean, I was obviously a big professional cyclist fan. People got really excited in 2014, 2015, 2016 when these efforts were being done.
Sure.
And there was an Italian woman that said it too at that time that put it well out of reach.
Sure.
So I would love to see, I think it'd be very exciting for kind of the cycling community to start asking for that again, because I really think, I mean, we were just talking about what's the team that's going to a gravel race?
EF Foundation.
Yeah.
Education first.
And I really do believe that was the amateur cycling fans asking for that sort of stuff to start happening. And these teams see this kind of push. It'd be really cool to see
I would
push to see
Yeah.
like, hey, let's have, I mean, I would love to go back in time and see Fabian Cancellara at his absolute best as a time trialist go out there and duke it out with Wiggins. Like, you know, I mean, I think we're kind of past the Tony Martin era of time trialing when he was winning a lot of these time trials, but
I don't even know who I'd want to see right now.
yeah, there's a next generation of time trialists coming up that are fast, but the big names are gone, unfortunately. You know, I mean the stalwarts are
Dumoulin
gone.
or
Dumoulin, yeah.
There's a new
Dennis.
young American. Who's the new young American? McNulty.
Oh yeah, yeah.
McNulty.
Who did very well at Worlds?
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
very cool to see. Yeah, I'd love to see Taylor Phinney come back and give the hour record a shot from the American point of view.
What about you personally? Would you ever try to, like, would that be something you'd be interested in doing if that was an option of like, hey, we're going to take the next 3 months and like once, you know, roll through it 3 times and then the next year try and beat your times or whatever it is?
It'd be fun to travel over to the velodrome and give it a shot.
Because you don't have a PR for the hour.
God, no.
So whatever you do,
we
is
set,
gonna be-
if we set something up through Obra to go down to Alpenrose to the velodrome there, the outdoor velodrome,
Yeah.
to start putting in Obra records for the 1 hour,
Oh, that'd be fun.
would you do it?
I would give it a shot. I've not
Local
ridden
1 hour records.
I
Sure.
have not ridden on a track, but I mean after I would come down a couple weekends, train on it, and then
That
that'd
could be
fun.
kind of fun though, because I mean you could break it out into all the different categories.
Yeah.
and you can have an overall for men's and women's, and
Yeah.
just let it ride.
Yeah. So that would be my ask of the local community is let's actually start trying to do the hour record as it's so much more. There's so much more cycling history to it than us sitting on the, you know, everybody getting their FTP numbers off trainers and everything like
Yeah.
that. I used to, my buddy in Colorado, Kit, always makes the joke that if it happened on a trainer, it's not real. That's like his joke, but that's because he was a big hour record fan when that was happening.
Ryan Lee made some comment on our live stream. He said, with Zwift, we theoretically ride year round in the Pacific Northwest.
I think that was tying to the previous comment that he made about Matt's comment. We theoretically caught the group.
No, that
We
was
theoretically
your
caught the
comment.
group.
Jake, I feel like he was talking about
was thinking about
your ride from Saturday. Theoretically catching the group on the McDonald's stop.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Did you say it? I guess I did say that. Huh?
You said that.
Oh crap! It was me.
You virtually caught the group. Yeah.
Well, we did. We just
If
didn't know
you
where they're
were on
at.
Zwift, you would
they're
have blown
playing
by
hide
them.
and seek with
Whatever.
us. They're playing hide and seek. All right, never mind.
You can throw me on
So
the bus. I don't
no
mind.
theoretically hour
No.
records on the on
No.
trainers.
But let me get so the record that Wiggins set is 54.5. So that is we're talking that's just under 35 miles an hour, isn't it?
54.5 kilometers.
Kilometers. I believe that is like 34 and a half miles an hour.
That's ridiculous.
That I think is a more ridiculous number to look
It's-
at than the watts.
It's
It's like
somebody break it since then, or
no,
is he
no,
still
that's
the,
still.
the
There's been a
record
lot
holder?
of guys who have tried.
I could have swore there was somebody else. Maybe it was somebody between him and
Zerbel, Tom Zerbel was close.
I think the
Tom Zerbel
technology
was
is
very
interesting
close.
too, right? Like they're using
Yeah.
like dual disc wheels and just interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Like from a time trialing nerd perspective, like that stuff, you know, is interesting to me.
Yeah.
And it goes back to kind of your point, which was like this was popular, people were paying attention.
Yeah.
This stuff is cool.
Yeah.
I wish we had that back again.
And it's very it's
33.9.
33.9
So
miles
34,
an hour. Yeah. And this is where the question is, I know, I think it was GCN had done something as, is it possible for the hour record to get over 35 miles an hour? And I think absolutely. I mean, you'd think at some point, I mean, I think Dumoulin is definitely fitter now than when Wiggins set, because Wiggins set that record when he was 35 years old.
yeah.
He was at the back end of his career.
Yep.
I mean, still very fast and strong time trialist, but not at his best. Dumoulin right now is at his best.
And there's a lot of other weird stuff too, where it's like if you look at like along that process of like when they picked the day and the location, it has a lot to do with the air pressure.
Has a lot to do
And
with the air
so,
pressure, yeah.
and I think it was pretty good when they picked it for Wiggins, but it wasn't perfect.
Yeah, he
So
did
it's
it. He did it in the UK at the Olympic, the velodrome they used for the Olympics, I believe.
And I think if you go up to a little bit of altitude, there's less air pressure, but then you have to deal with the altitude.
Yeah.
So there's some
It's like a
really
perfect
interesting.
altitude.
Yeah, there's some interesting stuff to look into, and I think that potentially there's room there for a little bit. But
Mm-hmm.
man, definitely something that would be cool to kind of watch the process. Someone like
really
Dumoulin
cool.
would be a good person to
yeah,
pick.
just a powerhouse. God,
Yeah.
Rowan Dennis is another one. I mean, he beat Dumoulin.
he did, and Rowan Dennis had the record for a bit, so he's actually tried it already. Now this was years ago, so he was much younger. But yeah, he had the record for a small bit, and I think Wiggins is the one who took it from him. I think Dennis had it until Wiggins took it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. All right, Matt, sell us or make something go
Right,
away.
right. Yeah, the real question was like stuff that you guys really love or stuff that you really hate. And Lance, of course, being Lance, of course, goes with something he really loves. Evan, also something he really loves.
Please
Man.
do the hate. Hate.
Hater.
Hate.
So race medals.
Love him, right?
Race medals. Now here's the crazy part about this is I can argue for race medals or against race medals, and I'll take whatever you guys want me to choose. Like,
Why don't
they're
you do
great.
both, and we'll take a consensus after that.
Let's say in cycling versus in triathlon, because triathlon is very different with race medals than cycling.
absolutely.
You will.
I don't
mean,
see
You got to
it.
earn
You
it.
don't
You got to
get
get
it.
on the podium.
you only get it if you
Yeah.
get on the podium, and
Correct.
sometimes even on the podium they don't give out the medals, right?
And I should be specific. It should
Are you
be
talking
like
about finisher medals?
finisher medals,
Not podium medals. Not like top 3 medals. You're talking, I
Finisher
finished dead last. I get a medal just
get a
like the
medal.
first place person.
Yeah.
Here's the problem with even the podium medals, though. Here's the thing with the podium medals. I think you should give
be
out
overall.
top 3, and then the last 3 who finish the race should get it too, because those people are usually like in their 80s and doing awesome, and it's like give that guy a medal. He was out there the longest today. I'm
Maybe
fine
it
with
should just be
I'm
like-
fine with dead last getting a medal
can
because
get
that guy
some-
that guy
maybe
spent the most
scrub.
amount of time on the race
What if
course
the race?
that day.
What if the race director gave out like you know how they do in cycling, like most combative or something like that? Like
Yeah.
there was that would be cool.
That would be.
But yeah,
DFL.
all
medal.
right. So I'll start with like
Turn Rouge.
the easy, which is like race medals. You know, come on,
Yeah.
guys. Like you finish a sprint triathlon.
Yeah.
People are. I mean, part of the process is like you sign up. You post the fact that you signed up on Facebook, and it's this whole spectacle that you're showing, like almost like a showing off kind of thing.
Yep.
And then you get your race medal, and you got to post that to Facebook, and then you got to hang it up, in your office or put it in your cubicle on your computer or something like that. And I'm just like, and race directors, they
You
get
just
it.
described the last 10 years of my life.
It's tough because it's like all the 4 of us are not good examples because we race because we want to see what we can do.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
the race medal, like all of us like don't care about race medals really, like
I end up losing them all anyway.
yeah, like my big thing is giving them back to the race director because they can reuse them or whatever, which is great. And the race directors don't care either, but they know they have to do it because a lot of people care so much about it. Yeah.
Well,
So-
the race directors, they're not making money on the first 5 or 10 finishers of the race.
No.
They're making
Well,
money on
everywhere.
the 1,000 that are in there.
Yeah.
And they want a race medal.
And it's
Medals
But
should
why?
be earned, though. They
But
should be
why-
earned.
why
If
do
you
you
want to
want that medal?
commemorate,
Yeah,
if you
like-
want to commemorate the fact that you just did a race and you didn't finish the podium, go buy a T-shirt from the race
Yeah.
director and
Yep.
support them
Yeah.
that way. That's gonna support them infinitely better because you're a little walking billboard for them now. You got something to commemorate the fact that you did it, and
Yeah.
you didn't earn the medal, so you shouldn't have it.
And now you're marketing for him. There you go.
So consensus here is definitely like race medals.
I know.
We could do without them. We
I'm
could
sure.
totally do without.
I'm
them
sure
in
we'll get some
triathlon.
comments that are saying that we're insensitive to all this, but this has been something I rolled my eyes at for years. I hate them. I think they're the dumbest thing ever. I think when you get to that finish line, and also they're really annoying too, because
Yeah.
like you get to that finish line, and I've been told I'm a little bit of like a race line, drama person.
Yep.
Like I collapse on the ground. I don't want this. Like I want the water. The person goes to like give me the medal first. I'm like, screw the medal. I need the water right now. Like I need 4 Gatorades and a water.
I kind of like my Ironman medals. I feel like those are kind of special.
Yeah.
It's a nice little piece of memorabilia.
I probably just like you guys, I have hundreds of medals.
Yep.
And I don't know what to do with them.
Yeah.
But there's maybe
Accidentally lose them.
there's maybe 5 that really
care.
mean something to me.
Yeah.
You know.
And it probably is stuff that's like Ironman races, potentially like you do, a 200-mile gravel race. Like that medal's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like,
So I've actually got an idea for us here. Now this comes from my group back in Ohio. They had a program. I'm gonna mess this up. I forget the name of the program, but I believe it was through a children's hospital, and it was something that a group of triathletes had started, and everybody gave their old medals in, and it was like a cancer. Or it was like an oncology, children's hospital, and they went out and handed out the medals to the kids there.
That'd be cool.
I thought that was the coolest thing. Yeah,
yeah.
it was very very cool.
So the counterpart of this is like is easier. Also, it's like, hey, we should keep medals in triathlon. It encourages people to do these races. Like, enough said. Like, that should be a reason to keep them. And people are paying for them with their race fees, you know, and so
Maybe the race fees can come down though if we take away the medals. I'd like that.
That'd be great. Yeah. So anyway,
Buy a T-shirt, folks. You don't need a medal.
Yeah, I like race T-shirts. You know, for the most part, I have a lot of those.
I agree that we don't need race medals, but for the participants, for the couch potatoes who are getting out there, I think it's a motivating factor for them.
I think it is.
Because I have hundreds of medals. If somebody has 2, it's a much bigger deal for them.
Or 0, and it's their first triathlon.
First one. So that could be motivating for them.
And they're not sure if they're going to finish, and then they finish.
Right.
So I don't know.
Does that actually motivate people to finish though?
Yeah.
It doesn't become a conversation piece though, because you're not wearing that thing out and about and all around for everybody.
Yeah.
The generally speaking,
The T-shirt makes more sense to
Exactly.
me. Or the
But-
hat.
But the thing is,
Buy a
is there's
hat.
in Ironman they have this. They have like a finisher shirt.
Yeah.
But
You gotta
most
perform at the
races,
race.
most races are going to give you a race shirt when you
Yeah.
sign up.
Right.
So that means great job on signing up. You know, it doesn't mean that
Yeah.
you finish the race. So, and I mean,
well, then change your little paradigm there to you get your T-shirt once you finish. You
Sure.
bought it, but you don't get it until you finish. So
I know.
that's your
I
carrot.
would be, I'd be fine with that. I'm
That's the
also
way
fine
the-
without medals, and I'm also,
Yeah.
you know,
That's
fine.
the way the Portland Marathon did it every
Did they?
year. Yep.
I think that's good.
Is you didn't get your finisher shirt. You didn't get a shirt until at the finish line.
I also used to be like,
That's kind of a cool way to do it.
Yeah.
I also have this theory that it's bad luck to wear a race shirt that you didn't do. Like that's
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah.
that's bad
mojo
juju,
there,
right?
Yeah, bad
Yeah.
juju.
Ooh, I will
have
say though,
a-
I use a bag
Yeah.
from the La Quinta Indian Wells race because
Right.
it fits my computer perfectly into it.
It's like,
I never keep. I usually don't keep the stream bags because I have too many of those.
Right.
But they did. Cassie did the race and she got this like awesome like La Quinta bag. And I was
Right.
like, oh, I'm definitely gonna use that.
I have-
and it's been perfect.
I have
yeah.
stuff that like I have like a New York City Marathon jacket that's super nice that Asics gave me, and it's like, this is super nice. This is probably like 100, and so it just sat in my closet for a long time. I finally gave it away to someone,
Because you never ran it.
but I never
so,
ran it.
Yeah.
But it's like just because it's bad. I mean, I think
I feel like
we-
you've done enough races to
we-
justify it.
Yeah, I feel like we need to be careful of being like, yeah, it's you know, it's bad luck or whatever. But are we really that superstitious?
There's-
you know,
There's one medal that I have that I could actually never part with and
Yeah.
never give away, and it was when I finished the Boston Marathon
yeah.
10 minutes before the bombs
Wow.
went off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was, not a lot of people finished that marathon that day.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
That was a
So then I guess
Traumatic
playing
event,
yeah,
yeah.
playing devil's advocate here. I know we all talk about the finishers medal stuff and we can all go on that, but like yeah, some of these bigger events, bigger moments, like having something like that is pretty cool. I know for
It's got some panache about it, basically.
yeah,
So
and I mean for me, I will say there is one that I'm keeping that actually I still have with me. That's the Santa Cruz one. I'm keeping that Santa Cruz medal
Yeah.
probably for
Never.
as long. Well,
you killed it. You
I
should.
would say well it was just it was a very important race to me.
Right.
I know I could have done better and I will do better in the future, but like that was an important race to me. So I'm keeping
So
that one.
this is the tricky part where we're all like, yeah, medals are
Yeah.
okay if it's a
What about to that
challenging
person
event.
at that 5K who
Who it is,
just
a
barely got
challenge.
off the couch and that 5K medal's important to them? Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
give that.
I think it's tough. I don't know where we draw the line. Like you say, like, hey, if
You
you
have
do
to
a
ask if it's
marathon,
important.
sure, it's okay. If you do a half Ironman, sure, that's okay.
Yeah.
If you finish a sprint triathlon or a 5K road race, like, no. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So we could draw a line in the sand and something that the four of us could agree to, but I don't, it's hard to say that that's fair. Anyway, I thought it'd be an interesting topic to discuss because
Maybe Ironman should have like a first timers medal. So like everybody who's finished their first Ironman,
gets a medal.
here's
That'd
your
be cool.
medal. If you're on number 5 and you finish the middle of the pack,
give him a T-shirt.
head back home. Yeah, buy a T-shirt and head back home.
Ironman's a long way, man. That's a long day.
Yeah, it is. I have not done one, so I should not be
Wow.
speaking on the Ironman. But yeah,
Well, halves are long days, so you've done a lot of those.
yeah, they are long days.
Cool. Mine.
Let's hear this.
Is it a love or a hate?
It's a hate. They need to go away. Be gone. Be done with you. And I
got
think the
two
bike
haters.
industry is listening
Me and
too.
Lance are just really, really positive people. over
That's
here.
right.
Rim brakes. See ya.
Oh God.
Okay. I like this because I love.
Okay.
I like the part of the argument piece here.
Bring it.
So rim brakes are heavier total component pieces. If you look at total components.
Really? They are?
Yep. Yep.
Oh. I didn't know that.
Wait, disc brakes are heavier. What
Disc
did I
brakes
say?
are heavier.
What did I say?
Correct.
Yeah.
Right, you
Disc
said
brakes are
robot-
heavier. By
So-
how much?
I don't know.
How much are we talking about?
I feel like maybe they could get
Grams.
close. I feel like, but
Are we
anyway.
talking like 200-300 grams here? Okay.
So rim brakes are lighter.
Correct.
So argument one.
Mm-hmm.
Argument number two. Rim brakes are probably more affordable.
That's starting to change, my friend.
Yeah. Okay. How
They're
about
also not as available now.
in a time trial? You're not needing to brake a whole bunch, so it's less important to have great braking.
But when it
Argu-
is
argu-
important, all of a
argument-
sudden something happens.
When it's important, it's
You
important.
never know when you're going to need to stop on a dime.
Sure. Okay.
And time trial bikes are notorious about being terrible for that. You don't always
yeah,
ride your
they're
time trial
horrible.
bike in just a time trial. You got to go out on the roads and train. If you got to go out there and interact with cars,
Could have brakes.
people, other
This is
riders.
true.
All right. Argument number 5 is aerodynamics are better on rim brakes, especially now because you can actually hide them within the fork and do different things like that.
That's becoming negligible as well.
It is becoming negligible and depends on like the, how much like we're talking about crosswind versus like head on and things like that.
Yeah.
So, yes.
I think safety trumps all.
Yeah. I agree with that. But
Being
I
able
figure-
to stop and being able to stop in a reasonable amount of time
Right.
trumps all.
Absolutely. I'm arguing for the sake of arguing.
No, I love
But
it. Bring it.
I know. No, I mean, I'm
Rim
looking.
brakes are easier to install and
Rim brakes-
easier to repair.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
true.
often rubbing with the disc brakes that's can be
Annoying.
Can be annoying.
There is a
Truing.
little bit of an adjustment, and I think with time, they're already getting better. I've been working on them for years, and a lot of
Right.
it came from I only worked on, the disc brakes when it was a mountain bike that would come in, and then you would get the road bikes, and it was just all easy peasy. You come in, you knock out some shoes, and you put the new pads in, and it's easy to do. It's easy to center it and all that other fun stuff. And then all of a sudden, road bikes are starting to come in with disc brakes on there. And yes, you do have to do a little bit more work with, lining up the calipers so that you've got the even spacing between the pads and the rotor and all that other stuff. And the rotor gets a slight wobble to it. You've got to true that, and
Right.
then you've got to bleed them and all that fun stuff. But as these bikes come through and the generations start to become better, like SRAM, for instance. Their road bikes, I used to think they suck, but now I actually prefer bleeding their hydraulic setup over the Shimano stuff. It is so stinking easy just to slam it in there. And Lance can attest to this. We just did it on his bike the last week. It is super simple. I mean, and I hate saying that because I don't want to lose business, and some people are still going to be scared of it. But if you've got hydraulic brakes, and especially if it's the SRAM stuff, if you've got the right bleed kit, it's like anybody can do this. It's not rocket science. You're just going to push a couple bubbles out and you're done. It's lickety split if you've got the right setup. And the new stuff bleeds extremely easy.
So from a novice perspective,
Yeah.
adjustments on brakes and brake maintenance.
The adjustment factor is super simple. It's 2 bolts. You loosen it up, and you just need to know where to look, and then you just find that proper gapping, and then you watch for any wave in the rotor, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
That part is super simple. Before that, it was like, all right, well, you had to bleed the brakes just the right way in order to make the reach so that like you're not pulling and it's like bottoming out against your handlebars where you want to engage. Well, there's adjustments on the levers now, so where you can push it out and you can get the proper feel, the tactile touch, if you will. So that part's super simple, and it's a lot easier now just to push fluids through there so that you can get it set up so that it's not soft. And then once you get it set up right, it's generally speaking, you don't have to bleed it for a long time because the systems are becoming much more secure and solid. You're not losing fluids and you're not getting air introduced into the system. So, so my point is, I could take you through the process of bleeding your brakes and changing the brake pads one time and teach you how to do it, and you would be sufficient for time moving on.
Should we make a video?
We should. I think we should.
All right,
sure.
last argument, and then I'm gonna give up and give in to the rim brake should die argument. And my last one is for people that have lots and lots of wheels, different race wheels, different blah blah blah. Changing to disc is an issue, and having like having everything be exchangeable and compatible amongst all your bikes and different discs that could potentially have different diameters amongst all your bikes. Whereas rim, you could switch out race wheels and things like that. And even if you have to make an adjustment for my race wheels and my training wheels, the rim width is the same, so I don't have to do anything. It would be a serious investment to switch over to discs. Not that I'm saying I won't do it.
It is, and it would be.
Yeah.
So, here's a couple points to that. The bike industry is changing. If
Right.
you look out there and you're looking at manufacturers and you look at the bikes that they're making fewer and fewer rim brakes. So if you have a rim brake bike right now,
Right.
odds are your bike is going to devalue tremendously over the next year to 2 years.
Yep.
Tremendously. It's going to lose a lot of value because nobody wants those bikes anymore.
Yeah.
They will eventually not make them anymore. And the industry will be all disc brake. So your bike, if you don't get rid of it now and make it somebody else's problem, you're going to be in a situation where they're just not going to have a lot of them out there, and nobody's going to have them, and nobody's going to be riding them. So they're going to be flooding the used market because everybody's going to be getting disc brakes. So you've got that issue right there.
Yeah.
As for your question, your rim brake wheels, they're all eventually going to wear out.
Yeah.
You know why? Because you're braking on that surface,
Aluminum
the brake
surface.
pad, and that's eventually going to wear out. That's another thing that's nicer about the disc brake bikes is the wheel theoretically will last a lot longer, because changing out a $20, $30, $40, $50 rotor is a lot less expensive and a lot
less
easier than
expensive, yeah.
the whole wheel, because your wheels, especially where we live, I mean, if you're going to be riding on a
Right.
rim brake in the winter time, not only does it stop like crap, even if you've got the best brake pads on an alloy surface, you've got okay braking modulation, but it still doesn't brake all that great. But you're picking up all this road debris and you're wearing down that wheel, and it's going to be done.
What I like is that I see a lot of you guys, like, you kind of have one kind of race wheel, and it brakes well, and it's not like you're avoiding your race wheels because they don't brake as well. Like they brake great because they're disc brake, and you guys use those all the time. Use them on a lot of the training rides and stuff like that. So
Yeah, you get to ride on nicer wheels, like you just said.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
it's definitely fun.
So
Absolutely.
I just think that the industry is changing. It's time to get rid of them, which is a good thing. And I rode on rim brakes for a lot of years, put a lot of miles on them.
Yeah.
And as soon as I rode on a disc brake bike, I was like, oh, okay, I get it. It really is that much better. It's significant. And I held off on buying a time trial bike for a year because I knew that this was coming down the pipeline, and it came out. And now I have a bike, a TT bike that has disc brakes, and those wheels are interchangeable with the wheels that I have on my road bike. So if I want to take off the deep dish and the disc and put on some just 40 mil training wheels, I can just go snag them off my road bike, and everything's interchangeable. So unfortunately for the folks that have the rim brake stuff, you're gonna be in a pickle if you want to make that switch, because it is kind of an expensive thing. But if you wait too long, your stuff's going to be worth even less.
Yeah.
And if you wait too long, it's going to eventually wear out anyway. So you might as well just kind of suck it up and make that change. So otherwise, it'd be like listening to a cassette tape in today's day and age when you have MP3s. Why would you continue to
Don't
do
make
that?
fun of my cassette tapes.
So the CD player in my car.
Yeah. We were tentatively going to do a hot seat. We don't have enough time, but I'm going to be
Save it.
selfish here, and I'm going to throw out the only hot seat
We
question.
can make it.
Unless somebody can trump this, but this kind of dovetails into the ride that we had this past weekend, and it kind of dovetails into this conversation that we're just having. My question to you guys: will you be switching your road bikes over to tubeless anytime soon? I think all four of us are still riding tubed, and there's a lot of people on the team. And I'm actually surprised because we just ordered a bunch of the new Continental 5000s for the team, and I ordered for everybody. And I was floored at how many people are riding tubeless now. I was like, holy cow, it was exactly the opposite. I thought maybe like 10, 15, 20% of the people at most would order the tubeless version. No, it was the other way around. I'm like, really? Okay, well, that's good to know, and it's nice to know. So I started reading around a little bit, and the manufacturers of wheels they're getting it right. They're doing better. They're building better wheels that are actually tubeless compliant. You just slapping some stands, tape in there, and crossing your fingers that it's going to work. They're actually building these wheels specifically to be tubeless.
Okay.
So that part's good. And then the tire manufacturers, Continental being one of the more notable ones that we use a lot because they make a great tire. None of their prior tires were tubeless compatible. Like if you wanted to run them tubeless, you were actually voiding the warranty of the wheel. So fast forward now, the new GP 5000 has come out, which is a fantastic wheel. You get better rolling resistance. You're getting free watts out of it. And they are making a tubeless specific one. So now you're dropping the weight of a tube that's obviously got the sealant in there, but you can run it at different pressures and whatnot. And you're going to be hopefully let me ask you this question. Between me and Evan, we had two flats this weekend.
Yes.
Would the nail that
that's a
both
good
of us
question.
said, would the sealant have closed that up? I don't know.
I don't think so. I think
mean,
when you have like
I don't know.
catastrophic
Well,
failure,
I looked at his tire, and
Yeah.
it was
You
just
guys
a,
looked
it
at
was
it, I
just
didn't look at
it was just a simple like in and out kind of puncture, but it went all the way and got the rim.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. Maybe
I don't know.
it maybe would have been able to survive it.
The
Yeah.
sealant might have. It might have. It wasn't a gash. It wasn't a slash. In
No,
the
no,
tire.
no. It wasn't like it went straight. It was hooked, so it kind of like rolled in and hooked in, and that's how it scraped the rim. But yeah,
And I'm curious if it would have worked for me as well. And
Yeah.
in years past, I've seen people that have that exact same scenario, and that's the scenario that I always have told people. That's why I hate tubeless setups, because that nail goes in, it comes out, and all of a sudden this white mist spray is going everywhere, and I'm grabbing brakes to get away from you because I don't want to get covered in tire sealant.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, you've got tire sealant all over your bike, all over your drivetrain. You've got to take the tube out, or got to slam a tube in there, so you got to take the tire off, and you got sealant coming all over the place. So it's just a big giant mess.
yeah,
Tires are changing, wheels are changing, the sealants are getting better.
yeah.
Is it time to switch to tubeless, guys?
Every bike I own is tubeless except my road bike.
Yeah.
And I question when it's time to do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you've got the same wheel set as I do. We've got the head,
Had 40 something.
Vanquish.
Yeah, Vanquish. Yeah.
So, and those are supposed to be great tubeless setups. And now we've got these new GP 5000 tubeless tires coming out. I think there's some testing that needs to be done. Maybe a video, Matt?
sure.
Video.
I like it.
So,
I like it.
will you guys be switching to tubeless, Matt? Evan? Lance?
It's always. I feel like it's always tempting. I feel like it's been tempting for a while. I feel like, when it works, it's great. You keep rolling, life moves on.
Yeah.
You're good. And I just feel like when it doesn't work,
It super doesn't
it
work.
super doesn't work.
Yeah. Well, I was talking with Chris Serrett after our ride on Thursday. He said, I rode 10,000 miles
Yeah.
and got one flat when I switched to tubeless. I was
Yeah.
like, you've got to be kidding me. I'm thinking in my head, like 10,000 miles.
It's years and years.
I
and
get
years.
at least a flat a month. And if I'm riding 1,000 miles a month, which I don't, I mean, that's probably at least a dozen flats for me in a year. And he got one.
Yeah.
There's just so many different types of flats, right? I mean, you have the sidewall slash.
That doesn't happen too often, though.
It
for
doesn't
me, at
happen too
least.
often.
Yeah.
No, it
Yeah.
doesn't happen too often. No, I agree. I think the conditions on the road were pretty gnarly. And I was going to be very surprised if we made it through this podcast without talking about like types of tires or, some sort of discussion about like what we can do to mitigate that situation where like we had you two had flats, but like there was 30 people on bikes and there were a lot of flats.
Yeah.
Yeah, whenever we ride out to Vancouver Lake, though,
Vancouver Lake is a mess.
there's always. I mean,
But,
when we
but
did
Marine Drive was gross too,
Yeah.
and when you're kind of in a tight pack, you don't have a lot of room to move around
you don't
to
get the
avoid
boyouts, yeah.
sloppier sections. If you're biking by yourself, you can kind of I feel like you can steer clear a little bit better.
Find the clean stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, it's yeah. So on my money's all going into my time trial bike here coming up. But I really need to assess. Everybody at this table knows this. I need to assess my road bike situation, which is probably just in time for.
Yeah.
It's
time.
I've
You'll be
realized.
faster,
I know,
which
but I
is-
really have like an attachment with this road bike. I really do.
That's good.
I have like an emotional attachment to this road bike.
keep
It will be. Yeah, I'm going to keep it.
Yeah.
But
Hang it up
it's
on the wall. It's a nice little
Yeah.
conversation piece. Then
It is, but yeah, it's going to
Decorative
be
art.
after the beginning of this season when I get my time trial set up all good. The next step is a new road bike, so it's going to have to happen here at some
So
point.
when you're
I
doing,
will probably go tubeless, to be honest.
yeah, when you go out to do a race or a time trial, would it make sense though to be tubeless? Because you're gonna like if you get a flat, you've got to stop and change it. At least you're giving yourself a fighting chance to maintain air pressure to finish a race. And
Yeah.
does
Right
it make
now,
more sense?
Right now, I'm on the Victoria Slicks, so I'm not tubeless going
Yeah.
into this season. That's because I really like that tire, and that tire really like. I mean, but it's like I've told you guys. My guys race my race mindset in 73 is if I flat, the day's done. I don't bring kits. I don't know why. I mean, people ask me like that's dumb. I'm like, yeah, I know it's dumb, but that's like my mindset is if I flat, the day's done. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, now if you hit
tubeless,
like
tubeless
nail or wire or
yeah.
piece of glass, and you've got that tubeless sealant in there, and it theoretically does its job.
It can hold on. Yeah.
The other question
so maybe that'd be
is,
a bad idea to look into that.
I think you can gain rolling resistance benefits by going tubeless. Again, there's all kinds of different pieces of the puzzle.
Not with the slicks though. I think the slicks are about as good as what's been tested so far, right?
I think tubeless ends up being better, like lower rolling resistance. We'd have to look it up, but like you can do latex tubes and things like that make things better. But I still think tubeless ends up being better on rolling resistance. Again, someone will correct us if I'm wrong. Hopefully they'll chime in the chats or whatever. But I think those are the numbers. And so then there's real advantages for you to say like, hey, you know, if I lose this race, you know, coming up by 3 seconds, like it's a really close race, that could have been the difference, right? Or whatever it is.
Absolutely.
So if you're listening to this and you've got an opinion on this or you've got experience on this, do chime in on our Facebook
Be very interested
page.
to hear.
The Dial Podcast Facebook page would be fantastic to hear that. I'm just curious because I want to know for me, for racing in the future, I think there might be an advantage there. Or for big group rides, if we didn't have, how many flats were there that day? 5 or 6?
A lot.
If we didn't have 5 or 6 and everybody could have stayed together because there weren't mechanical things going on, that just makes for a better ride.
Yep.
Lance and I wouldn't have been chasing the entire day. So,
It does.
I'd like to hear from everybody and see what you guys
I feel like
have.
this is one of those holy war arguments where people are, you know, really adamant of, you know, one way or the other. And so
If you'd asked me 6 months ago, I would have laughed at you and said, no way, I'm not doing it. But things are changing, guys. Yeah. So, and I've got to be realistic and take a look at this and say it might have finally made it.
And that's what
I
we
could
should
ride
do
10,000 miles on
Right.
discs and tubeless without flats and no brake problems. I would absolutely sign up for that tomorrow.
Yeah.
But
That's what
my
we
money.
should do is test.
Test. Yep.
Yep.
Cool. All right. One last thing. Matt, start us off.
Oh, I don't have too much to say. Always thanks to the listeners who are chiming in, taking their time to listen to us. I'd love to hear a little bit more about you guys. So drop comments on the Facebook thing like Jake just mentioned recently. I've got probably a video coming out this week on the YouTubes. My YouTube channel is youtube.com/mlegrand. That's MLEGRAND. I think I'm going to talk about a specific track workout. Nice. And then sometime in the near future, I'm going to do like beginning novice triathlon type stuff. Like, you know, I'm not exactly sure like, hey, if you're coming and you know nothing about triathlon, like what do I need to know? Like what do I need to do to get to the starting line and potentially the finish line of your first triathlon? So that video, look for that either at the end of this week or next week. So
You coach someone how to get a medal?
you know what?
Get that medal.
They might even be able to medal.
Get the medal.
You might even be able to get them to medal. Yep.
You put out a video this past week too. What was that real quick?
I did a swimming workout video, and it was actually it was good because I've done the workout once before, and then I did it one more time prior to the video going out, and it was like a 4,000 meter workout. And it was pretty cool because the way like the end of the workout goes, it's like it's 15 by 100, which sounds brutal, right? Like you're hearing this in your mind, you're like, that's going to be miserable. Yeah. But the way it's set up is like you do kind of like 4 gradually getting harder, and then the 5th one easy, and then you go through it that rounds 3 times or whatever to make 15, and then you're just like, wow. All of a sudden, you get all these meters in or yards, depending on if you're swimming meters or yards. But it's a great way to get a lot of swimming in. So check it out. Yep.
Good stuff, Matt. Good stuff. Evan, one last thing.
My last thing. We need some sun. Today we got a little bit of sun, but
It's already gone.
we need more sun. We just need more sun. That fog yesterday was like claustrophobic. I couldn't take it.
It was.
I was like, getting like, was anybody else getting super bummed out? This is like, I know this is this time of year. I'm like new to this region, and I know it's like I've only now been here almost 2 years, but like God, every single time
My
this time
wife
of
was
year
getting
comes around.
very cranky. She's like, this needs to go away. She's
It
like,
needs to go
even
away.
that stupid wind that we had a couple weeks ago, if that came back, I'd be happy.
Oh yeah.
Now, Jake, real quickly, comment from the live stream. Your wife is doing her first triathlon probably this season. And then the question was really targeting towards Evan and I, and it was best beginner triathlon PDX area this summer. So if you are in the Portland greater area, the triathlons that we would probably recommend, they do have like a triathlon. There's the Blue Lake Triathlon, which I think is excellent. And I think they do a triathlon along with that particular weekend. But so that's probably what I would look for. I would look for Y racing events.
Why triathlon racing events is definitely definitely the group to look at.
Yeah, and their website is yracingevents.com. And they'll have, I think, somewhere along the I would say about 8 events or so this summer, and that's where you should start. Absolutely. That's the best place to start.
Yep, you get to see me and Matt at probably a couple of them.
Yeah, you'll see us, and then Jake's wife potentially as well.
She is. Yeah, she's got 2 or 3 on there. She's got one that's going to be an Xterra style, and then she's going to be doing another one that's going to be her traditional
There's
sprint.
a few from her running club that are going to be there.
Yeah.
And they do an all-women's triathlon, girlfriends triathlon or something like that, and I think that's in August or late summer anyway.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Yeah, cool. All right. Lance, one last thing.
I'm going to switch my road bike to tubeless. I've just decided.
Yeah.
I love it.
I added some tubeless 25 GP 5000s to the order for myself because I want to give those a shot too. So
really, there's not a good reason. I don't have a good enough reason not to do it.
yeah, well, it's if nothing else, just try it out. If it sucks and you have problems with it, then guess what? You can go on back. So
Yeah, I think my wheels are tubeless compatible. I could totally try it. So.
All right.
Yep.
My one last thing. Evan, we did yours, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Sorry. I'm having one of those Snickers moments, guys. I am like calorie deprived.
I was thinking the same thing.
Like
I'm
today, I've
so
been like
hungry right
blabbering
now.
on and stepping on my own tongue all day long. It's just
I said
I'm
like
so
coffee for breakfast this
freaking
morning.
hungry. Yeah.
Yeah, big workout.
And I don't even put creamer in my coffee anymore. It's just straight black coffee.
It's just not even calories. That's like negative calories.
There's
I
no
think.
calorie. Yeah.
You're like
it's
burning some as you're
exactly.
drinking
So
it.
I haven't eaten since dinner last night at like 6:30 or something like that. So I'm hungry. So pardon me. My one last thing is I just wanted to say I was proud of my wife. She went on her first road ride
There you go.
this past weekend. She's ridden a mountain bike
That's awesome.
quite a few times on dirt, but she did her first road ride outside. She went out to Vancouver Lake with I think 4 or 5 of her friends, and she was on a borrowed bike, which I was like, I can't believe my wife is having to borrow a bike.
I was
If-
about to say this.
if you see all the
There's
stable,
45 bikes in the garage, and your wife
There
borrowed.
are literally
I
45
have
Literally
bucks.
45
I
bikes.
have one that fits her, and it's over in Vancouver at the studio in Movement Revolution, where I share some space with Robbie over there, and it's her size and everything, but she didn't want to ride it because it's too expensive of a bike. It's a BMC SLR one, so it's God, it was SLR 1.4, so it's probably like a $5,000 or $6,000 or $7,000 bike, and she's like, I don't want to ride that, and she's like, what if I crash, or what if I don't like it, or then it becomes used? I'm like, oh, okay, all right. So she borrowed one. So what was kind of cool though is later on after we did some cool stuff after the ride. We went over and helped our lost teammate Michael Myers. We helped his wife, who is selling their house, and she's going to downsize a little bit. She's staying here in camps, which is fantastic.
Okay.
But we went over there, and there must have been 10 or 12 of us. And she had this long list of all these things that she needed to get done to get her house on the market. And I'm sorry, this is a tangent here, but 12 of us just plowed through this whole thing. We finished in 55 minutes or something like that. This massive
Oh
list.
my God.
And like she was like, her head was spinning. Like everything was just happening so fast, and it was just done like that. And it was awesome. So it was thank you to everybody who came out to that, by the way. So that was kind of cool. So when I got back from that, I walk in, and my wife is on social media or something like that, or at least that's what I thought. And I looked over, she was looking at Cannondale bikes on her
funny.
phone, like trying to figure out which one she wanted. I'm like, oh, all right, that's cool. So she came to me, she's like, I need my own bike now. I'm like, so
Yeah.
that warmed my heart.
That's
So,
interesting because she's going to do triathlons, and that's in this tricky situation where she's going to need. Eventually she's going to need 2 bikes, right? Where it's like she needs that road bike for the everyday stuff. And then it's kind of like, eventually, if she's racing triathlons, it's nice to have.
That bug.
Don't know if she's going to get that deep into
Who knows,
the
right?
bushes. I think that she would be perfectly fine with a road bike for now.
And then clip on aero bars.
Clip on aero bars for down the road. And
Yep.
she's not going to be in that perfect TT position, but I don't think necessarily that's what she's looking for. So, and I've got some clip on aero bars that we can put on there. She'll be happy camper.
It
So
is a very, very slippery slope triathlon. You
It
get in, you're
is.
like,
It is.
yeah, I'm just going to ride the road bike. Like, I'll just do a sprint and then, I'm going to try one of these Olympics and, these clip-ons. And, maybe I should just get a triathlon bike. And now I just did a full Ironman on a full-out $12,000 bike. So,
well, it's kind of cool, though, because tonight I get to, jump on Zwift at the same time as her. And I'm on a whole recovery block. So we're going to actually ride together on Zwift tonight. So that'd be kind of neat. She'll be
That is cool. I'm
riding
going to
next
try
to
to do something
that's a
similar
Swift
to that.
commercial
My
right
wife,
there waiting to happen. Yeah.
Swift commercial.
All right, guys. As always, thank you so much. I love this.
Thanks for having us.
Best part of the week
favorite
every
time. Of
time.
the week, yeah. Gotta come up with those
Better than
Folgers-
sunshine.
Folgers commercials. Best part of waking up. The best part of Mondays and the whole week.
But a
is
huge Folgers thing,
podcasting
right?
commercials, yeah. So, and everybody who comes back to listen to us every single week, we really do appreciate that. And it still spins my head. I mean, we're not the biggest podcast in the world. We're tiny potatoes compared to a lot of people, but I still can't believe that we've the thousands and thousands and thousands of people who listen. It's just so awesome.
Yeah.
What would be kind of cool, what I would love to see, if you're listening to us, there's people listening that have listened to us, and I think it's 18 or 19 different countries. That blows my head. That just is nuts.
Yeah.
I would love to see you guys post and check in from wherever you're at in the world, or wherever you're at in the country, or just even if you're here in our backyard, just say hi to us on our Facebook page. I think that'd be really cool. We would like to get to know you. Matt says it quite a bit. You guys are all part of our family, and we get to share this with you guys every single week. So thank you so much for coming to listen. Do chime in. And if you ever have questions too, feel free to email any of us at our first names at dialpodcast.com. Thank you so much for coming back. You guys have a great week. Bye for now.
All right.